Hoyo cried when I got a tattoo. My dad cried too. When I pierced my ears, my dad cried, and when I did this, my mom cried. I like making them cry, to be honest.
Sometimes the internet forgets that the real world has consequences. For years, certain streamers and content creators have built entire audiences by pushing boundaries, provoking strangers, and doing whatever it takes to go viral. The formula is simple: cause chaos, record the reaction, upload the clip, and watch the views roll in. But what happens when that same formula collides with another country's laws, culture, and history? That's exactly what happened to a controversial American live streamer known online as Johnny Somali, who is actually Ethiopian American according to numerous sources, who has just been sentenced to 6 months in prison in South Korea after a series of incidents that angered people across the country. This story isn't just about one internet troll. It's about culture clashes, historical trauma, the global reach of social media, and the moment when online antics stop being entertainment and start becoming criminal charges. Today we're going to break down what happened, why there's so much outrage, what the court decided, and how the internet is reacting to the news. Let's get into it.
And if we're being honest, you should have got 6 years in prison, not 6 months. Because these live streamers who go to other countries and terrorize people, because that's what you are, you're a terrorist, literally need to be stopped. And shout out to the country of South Korea, I was about to say North Korea, shout out to the country of South Korea for showing one of them by example. Now, a streamer by the name of Johnny Somalia had got convicted of 6 months of forced labor in South Korea for essentially doing a bunch of terroristic stuff in the country. But for worse, he was actually defacing the Statue of Peace. And if you guys don't know the Statue of Peace, let me just tell you a little bit about it. So during World War II, Korean women were kidnapped by Japanese soldiers, and they were essentially essayed. They were essayed. Now, after the war, a statue seen here was erected to pay homage and honor to the women through war who suffered disgusting atrocities by Japanese soldiers. And this genius thought it was cute and funny to deface, gyrating on it, making out with it. The Statue of Peace, of all places, where many world leaders have visited. This is what he thought was something cute and kitschy for his Twitch streamers or whatever. Well, South Korea wasn't having it, and they put him in jail, and they should have gave him 6 years for it. And I hope this sets as a good standard for people who are wanting to get into content creation and live streaming and going to foreign countries, to not do dumb, ignorant stuff on other people's land. Or you're gonna end up like Johnny Somalia here, who literally was begging and pleading for the courts to show him sympathy. They didn't.
Johnny Somali got sentenced to 6 months of prison in Korea, and I couldn't be more glad, because if you don't know who he is, he's this like public prankster who just like harasses people and disturbs the public. But he was in Korea and he was desecrating these statues, he was making these like abusive and racist remarks and doing these like other horrible things, and he finally got sentenced to 6 months. He also made a very disturbing deepfake video of him and another female YouTuber, and he was warned so many times to stop acting how he was, to stop disrespecting Korea, but he didn't listen, and now he's been sentenced to jail. And he tried to plead with the judge by saying that his actions wouldn't be illegal in the US, so why is it illegal in Korea? But then he was also saying how, he's made mistakes, he's remorseful, he needs to learn from this, and I don't believe that shit at all. Like, I don't believe one bit that he's actually sorry. I think he's only, sorry because he's getting sentenced to jail. And I'm glad to see these public pranksters actually get justice dealt to them, because there are so many of them now where they just go up to random people, they disrespect others, they disrespect property, they disturb the peace, and they think it's funny, they think it's content, and they don't want to listen to anybody. And they know what they're doing is disrespectful, but they get joy out of harassing other people. So to see them actually get some justice and for them to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I just need to learn from this, I don't believe that shit one bit.
We really need to be more careful with who we make famous, because what do you mean that Johnny Somali just got arrested in South Korea? Girl. Well, I guess boy, but anyways, so I just don't understand some streamers. I don't understand how they are so big, because their whole thing is just being a menace to the public. They're just annoying. They're literally out there harassing people or just causing a commotion. And I think that they had already either they already gave him a warning, or they almost arrested him because they cited that he was a public nuisance. So you are already on thin ice while you're in this country. He's American, I believe. Someone said he's American, so I'm gonna believe that he's American. And he goes over and he starts kissing and rubbing up on and twerking on a statue that represents the comfort woman. Could he not have known what that statue represented? Sure. But am I going to act like that while I am in a foreign country whose whole thing is about respect? They have a big respect culture in South Korea. And you're gonna be like, oh, I'll be fine. It's not like the States. I am not fooling around. in other countries. And now he has 6 months in a labor camp, in a labor prison. And he's like, oh my God. First of all, he has to have a great lawyer, because I think he was originally supposed to get either 3 years or 6 years, and it went down to 6 months, which is already insane. But they're gonna be working you, and you look really scrawny, so I don't know if you're gonna last for all those days. But 6 months for acting like a public nuisance, like you are a menace, and look what happened now.
Crazy Korean news says streamer Johnny Somali is found guilty of all charges in South Korea for his disturbing behavior and is being sentenced to labor prison. Here's all the details. So for context, streamer Johnny Somali back in 2024 went to Korea and did a bunch of stupid stuff, especially including him making a mockery out of statues that represented comfort women that were sold into actual slavery to Japan. But it wasn't only this. He caused disturbances in 7-Elevens and public buses. He was blasting North Korean propaganda out on the streets of South Korea. There were some deepfake videos involved. And it got so bad to the point where Koreans started getting pissed and Navy SEALs knocked him out in public because he was being obnoxious. To make things worse, he didn't seem like he was sorry for any of these things, because on his first court appearance, he came drunk wearing a MAGA hat, and people were saying, what the hell? And he basically said, I didn't know this would be a problem because 1, it was alcohol's fault, and 2, this wouldn't be a problem in the United States. And so as of just now, he was sentenced and found guilty of all charges, and he'll be sent to labor prison where he'll have his phone confiscated, and he'll also receive a formal offender status, and he'll have to be doing physical labor. To be clear, prosecutors initially requested a 3-year sentence. This sentence specifically was a 6-month sentence. Now I think there's a 7-day grace period where prosecution or Somali can request an appeal, and final verdict won't be reached until all appeals are exhausted. Let me know your thoughts, but justice is served.
I'm not gonna go to jail. Not one day in jail. I'm gonna laugh my off when all these motherfuckers are saying I'm going for 30 years, 20 years, 5 years, 10 years. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm not even gonna do one day, bro. They're gonna give me a fine. They're gonna say, don't come back to Korea.